Hello, everyone, and welcome back to episode 33 of Sooner Girl Sports Pod. And I have some amazing guests on this week's episode that I'm so excited for you to hear. But before I introduce them, please stay tuned after the interview this week for this week's Sooner headlines of the week. I have a lot to cover. As you know, we're just a few days away from kickoff, and we are all anxiously awaiting our first game this season. And I am going to talk a little bit about the lineup, the depth chart that was released this week, as well as a few other highlights with some other sports around Sooner sports, and also some exciting announcements coming up for the podcast later this fall. So you won't want to miss any of those announcements coming after this interview. I am so excited to welcome my sweet friend Robin Needham and her son Nick Needham to the podcast for another episode of the Crimson Chronicles. And I'm very excited about this one. As you know, my Crimson Chronicles is a fan series where I talk to fans about being Sooner born or Sooner built. And Robin and her family are definitely Sooner born and Sooner bred, as is her son Nick. Robin tells a lot of stories and memories from just growing up being a Sooner fan, and that's all she's ever known in life. And of course, her son Nick knew nothing other than OU sports growing up as well. And now Nick is entering his second year as a trumpet player as a member of the Pride of Oklahoma marching band. So he has lots of stories to tell, lots of things to look forward to for this upcoming season. So I hope that you all enjoy this awesome interview with Robin and Nick. And I thank you so much for taking the time to come with me on the pod. We actually recorded this last month before Nick headed back to school. Things get crazy when those kiddos get back in Norman with lots of practices and classes. So I truly appreciate them taking the time and giving me part of their summer to come onto the podcast. So you guys enjoy this awesome interview and episode of Crimson Chronicles, Sooner Born, with Robin Needham and her son Nick, a member of the Pride of Oklahoma marching band.
Well, I'm excited to talk to y'all. Robin, I know me and you could sit and talk all day long, but first of all, I loved all your pictures that you sent me.
Well, I could have sent 1,000 more.
Okay, well, I'm going to start with Nick. So, and Robin, you can jump in. So, Nick, obviously, you never had a choice as far as being a Sooner. You're definitely Sooner born, and I'm the same way, so I totally understand that. But tell me a little bit about your journey as far as the band goes. I mean, obviously, you've probably been playing an instrument for a while, and what led you to that? Have you always wanted to be in the Pride, or is it something that just kind of you decided to do? Or tell me a little bit about that.
Okay, well, I started playing band when I was in middle school. So, my 8th grade year, we got a new band director, and he really helped me a lot. He was actually in the Pride when he was in college.
Cool.
So he out a lot and everything, but I mean, he just let me know that was even like an option thing that I could probably do. So as it got closer time to like select college and stuff, just, I toured OU and it just felt like home. So it made it like the obvious choice as to where to go and stuff. And, getting in the band and stuff, I just wanted to try it to see if I even made it. I didn't even think that I would.
Sure.
I wasn't even for sure that I would even probably make it, like, at all.
Mm-hmm.
But I did. It was just, it just felt right.
Awesome. So what is your favorite thing about being in the band?
It's definitely the people.
Okay.
Because it's just
awesome.
Such a community of just such a supportive community and stuff like that. Because obviously hard finding the balance between the Pride and like schoolwork and stuff like that. So, everybody has a bad day every now and again where they take a bad test or something, and it's just, everybody's there to support you and help you even through the days when you're not 100% or even 10%. But let's get over.
Well, that's a good answer because, I mean, I know, and your mom too, just from having gone to college, and I went to OU, and it's a big campus, and especially like you coming from a smaller school. But, I mean, you go to OU, it's huge, and you're like, how do I meet people? How do I make friends or like-minded people? And obviously being in the band, you've already got something in common and they're just right there. And you obviously spend a lot of time together. Yeah. So that's good. So I remember, I think it was last year, Robin, at the ladies clinic we do the rotations and learn about all sorts of things regarding the university. And one of our stops was with the drum major, Hallie, and Brian Britt, and I do not remember who else. But anyway, they were talking about the timetable, the time frame on game day. And I've never really thought about it. Like, as a fan, I'm not a huge fan of 11 o'clock kicks because I got to get up early on a Saturday and drive to Norman and all that. But holy smokes, like you guys, for an 11 a.m. kick, I believe it's like 6 hours before kickoff that you guys start your day.
Yeah,
so you're looking at a 5 a.m. call or whatever.
And some of us get up even earlier than that.
Yeah.
I think for the 11 o'clock game this year, when we played Maine, I think, I got up at like 4 a.m.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Well, you have to. I mean, to get ready and get going, but that makes for a very early, long day for you guys. And I don't know about you, but most college students are not morning people. I'm still not a morning person. No. So tell me a little bit, because I don't remember a lot of details. I know that they kind of talked about this in the session that I was referring to. But so a game day, like you start at 5 a.m. before an 11 kick. Tell me what do you guys do during that 6 hour time frame before kickoff? Because you got a lot going on.
Yeah. Well, like I'm saying, we'll meet up at Everest, their team's indoor training facility. They let us use it to warm up and get ready and stuff. And we'll start off in like little groups and we'll practice like go over some of the music and stuff and just get ready. And then they'll put us all together. We'll fetch, do a few like warm up stuff to get our marching ready, and then we'll do some run throughs of like pregame, and then we'll do like tweak certain spots that they think can do as good the first time, or we didn't do it the last time we practiced. And then we'll do pregame, and then we'll work on our halftime.
Okay.
You go to
after we get done with all of that, then we go to walk to back to Catlett music hall and stuff like that, and we just kind of eat and we chill out. We kind of hang out there for a while. Then we just, after we eat, they give us food and stuff so we can kind of chill out, and we change into our uniforms and stuff, and then we march on over and get ready.
And do you guys do some sort of march in before every game?
Yep.
Okay, I thought so.
Well, and what's cool is I didn't know they go to the flagpole and they all warm up, and then they set the parents in the middle for the trumpets, and they play a tone like to blow us out, and then they all go and touch the flagpole and do their little sayings.
Yeah. It's a tradition thing.
Well, it's okay to be a tradition.
For sure.
I think it's really cool. That's my favorite part as a parent. I feel like it's special for us.
Well, Robin, I know it makes you proud as a Sooner born, Sooner bred. Like, I mean, I can imagine, I don't have kids, but if I did and they were involved in anything with OU, it would just thrill me beyond all pride. So I can imagine how you feel.
Oh my gosh. The first time he went out there, I was like berserk. I mean, I just couldn't follow him enough. He kept telling me to stand back, don't stop. And I was just following him everywhere with the recording at everything he did. And so and it gave me, I've always said when the band walks on the field, I get chills because
absolutely.
It's just that moment that, it's all about to begin. Yes. And I've been known to have tears and stuff. But when he went out there, I saw our Sooner history wrapped up in this one person.
Yes.
How joyful my family, my dad, and my mom would have been to see him on the field.
Absolutely.
And Mom had told him, before she passed, that she saw many awards on his wall and stuff. And I think this was part of it, being a part of the pride. And he found his own, like he said, he found his people.
Yes.
The first week, he was like, I'm going to die. Because they work out.
I know.
They go full out.
Yeah. They're easier on us this year.
Are they? Okay. Well, I know you guys practice outdoors most of the time, obviously, because you've got to get your feel on the field, whether it be on the practice field or wherever. And I've seen them. I don't know if you guys still go down by the old softball field. I know I've seen the band out there before practicing, and I know it's hot. And especially, I know you don't always have your uniforms on, like you don't always practice in them, but those uniforms are not to keep you cool. I'm sure they're really hot.
Have some warm weather uniforms for us, which are like the other uniforms. They have the sleeves cut off.
Okay,
we
good.
just wear
That's
white
good
undershirts and stuff, and it covers it
Yeah.
up. But it's still not.
Yeah, no, not at all. Not at all. Well, I'm laughing back to what Robin you were saying about recording him, because I think back to when I was in college or high school or whatever, and like my mom was so embarrassing. Like I mean, all I did was attend OU. I didn't do anything there. You know what I mean? But like she was always wanting to take my picture like in front of the flag, like the lamp post, like just literally anything. And I was like, Mom, this is so embarrassing. I totally get it, and I don't disagree. However, now as an older person, like I said, I don't have kids, but I have nieces and nephews, and I embarrass my niece now. And so I get it, like, and I don't think anything about it. So I get the embarrassment, but also in your defense, Robin, as an adult, like we just want those photos. And I will say, one thing that sticks out to me, when I graduated from OU, my mom was like, would you please go around campus and take some like graduation photos? Like just have your friends like take a picture of you in your cap and gown at the clock tower or whatever. And I'm like, this is so embarrassing. But to be honest, like here I am 20 years later, 25 years later, looking back on that. And I'm kind of glad she made me do it, because she wouldn't leave me alone until I did. And I didn't really want to do it because like that's embarrassing, right? Of course, it's a little different now with social media because everybody's trying to take the great picture for Instagram and all that. So it's a little more laid back, I guess you could say. But back then, like it was really super embarrassing to do that. But I'm thankful for the photos that my mom did take and that she made me take, because here I am 20 years down the road, and hopefully you'll feel the same someday. I look back and think, okay, I'm kind of glad I have that.
Yeah, well, and
that
he
picture.
He will one day.
Yeah, he will. All that to say, I get both sides of the embarrassment, because I've been embarrassed and now I'm the one embarrassing. So it's probably a good thing I don't have kids, because they would probably it'd be a 24/7 embarrassment and not just every now and then. But
he's used to me, so but like I said, right. I had rules when I came to the games. I had to stay a certain amount back, and
well, there you go. Yeah,
to follow my rules.
Yes, and that's okay. You gotta have boundaries, right?
Didn't.
Well, sometimes I was going to say sometimes it's hard to follow those boundaries a little bit, because you're like, I just want to take my picture with my kid.
And it's so exciting for me because, like I said, it's been my whole life. OU has been my whole life. And to see my son out there is just like a dream. I mean, he's as important part of OU ball games, basketball games, all of that. I go and play at gymnastic events. And all of that.
Certain groups of us do.
Yes. And so for me, all over campus and representing our family and the pride.
Absolutely.
Just makes your heart overflow, because I was like, this is a dream. My dad, I said he thought I was bad. If my dad had been around, he wouldn't have been able to go to practice without Dad standing out there yelling, Boomer Sooner, go, Nick, go.
No doubt that that's true.
My dad would have been up in his grill. And no matter what rules he laid down, my dad would have ignored them.
He'd have been like, I don't have rules.
Says he would have been cool.
There is some truth to that also.
Yes, there is. He would have taken it much better from Dad than he does me.
Absolutely. I totally understand that. Okay, so I was going to ask you, Nick, about, playing at basketball games. I know it's a smaller group that plays at basketball. I've even seen, like you mentioned, gymnastics as well. I think I was at a soccer game last fall, and there was like a few of the band members there.
I think.
Did you? Okay,
I
cool.
played at one soccer game. I don't know which one, but I think there was
Right,
two
okay,
events
yeah.
that they played at, so it's a 50-50.
Cool. Well, okay, so I know it was the very first SEC event on campus was soccer.
I think that was it. I think it was.
Okay, I was going to say, I was at that one, and I went to that one. It was Mississippi State, I believe.
Yes, I think it was Mississippi State.
Okay, yes. I went to that game, my first soccer game ever, intentionally because it was the first SEC event on campus, and I was like, I got to go to that. So, yeah, I remember there being a small group there. And then, okay, so gymnastics. Are there any other sports that you guys take a group to?
They try to do it for as many events as I think they can to like help out and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They're the main ones that I know about. I think they send smaller groups probably to some of the other ones, but I don't.
Yeah.
They do a lot for like statue unveilings and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, true. Yeah.
Even they send a lot of pet bands just to some of the small things, like some of the events and stuff like that. Sure, they have somebody there to represent, but those are the only sports I can think of.
I like the pet band at basketball. I mean, I know it's a small group, but it's always like, it's just necessary at the basketball game. I feel like it's always one of my favorites to hear the band. So did you play at a couple basketball games?
I played at a lot of basketball games.
Oh, good. Okay, cool.
I went to the men's SEC tournament as well.
Nice. Okay, yes, I think I remember that now.
Tennessee. Yeah, I really enjoyed basketball band. It was way different than what football was.
Yes.
So it made it an interesting experience by itself.
For sure.
Because, you weren't on the court in front of everybody.
Yes.
So it made it a little better.
And the crowd responds to you all too.
Yes, they totally do.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it because it was a lot more, I think like interactive, I guess you would say.
Yes, that's so true.
We had a lot, it felt a lot more cohesive, I guess, where it's like the fans are more, probably because we're right next to the student section also.
Right. Yes, so true.
You got to hear all
smaller venue
and stuff like that. It was easier to hear them when there wasn't like 400 of us there.
Yes, that is very true. Okay, so you went to the SEC championship, that's a really cool trip. What's your favorite place that you traveled to last year? Because I don't know, do they always travel with the same people for basketball, or do you guys kind of take turns, or how does that work?
It was my freshman year, so I didn't get to travel for football.
Oh, okay, but yeah.
The only place I really went was Nashville, so that's gonna be my favorite.
Okay, yeah.
But they decide it based on they have a really good system to decide like who goes where for basketball band. It's like they do like a point system thing to where every game you attend is like a certain number of points. Okay. And like based on your seniority, you get a certain number of points to begin with and stuff like that. And then they have certain games that are like double points if it's on the weekend or during like a break or something. Like they had a few games during Christmas break that were worth like double points.
Yes, okay, that makes sense.
And then they pay us a certain amount for each game, and then like there's some games where it's like double pay, like if it's on Christmas or like near Christmas.
Okay,
like that.
Right, yeah.
And so then based on that, like they have a point system, and you pick and choose. Like say I want to go to the men's SEC tournament, then it's like okay, then they compare it to everybody else with points, and then they see how many spots they have, and they take that many for each.
Okay.
Also do it based on like part needs and stuff like that, like first trumpet, second trumpet, third trumpet. They need a certain amount of each one to be able to make it like sound good. So they automatically have to take at least a certain number of people.
Right, that makes sense. So I do recall last year that there was a men's basketball game over the break. And I remember Chauvin Aaron, I know him personally, and he had posted on Facebook that he was like, hey, we're trying to find people to come fill in the pet band for the basketball game tonight because the students were gone, And so I can imagine like you have members from all over the place. So they deserve a break. They deserve to go home and see their family and all the things. But yeah, Chauvin was posting like, hey, does any like former band people in the area want to come and help fill in at the game tonight? So I thought that was funny, but I guess it provides too, like that was a unique opportunity for like some former band people if they were around and had the opportunity to come and fill in. That would have been cool. But anyway, yeah, that makes sense to entice you to maybe come and help at those games. They're going to like pay you in points or whatever so you can get what you want to do later. That makes sense. So, well, hopefully, I guess coming up this football season, since you won't be a freshman anymore, you'll get to travel some.
Yeah.
So that'll be exciting. There's a lot of good road trips coming up.
He's
So hopefully,
extremely excited. I'm trying to figure out how I can go.
oh gosh, I was hoping to go to the South Carolina game. Like I really just want to do that one for some reason. But Tennessee is another great one. That's actually on my list of places to get to. Nayland, wow, that'd be crazy to get to go to that, because they were loud last year when they came to Norman, like their band. Oh my gosh, like that was nuts. So please go there and like just play Boomer Sooner nonstop to where they can't stand to hear it. I swore if I heard Rocky Top one more time, I was just gonna.
I know, it drives me nuts.
Yes, and what's another? Oh, Bama. We go to Bama.
When they went years ago, that was his favorite place to go.
Oh, really? Okay,
yeah,
awesome.
He said they had the best fans when him and Mom went. He said,
cool.
You know, they were courteous. They invited them to tailgate.
Oh, good.
And said that they had respect for OU and their traditions and stuff. And they would sit and visit with Alabama fans and stuff. And he said he would go back there every time, because he said it's just,
wow.
He said their traditions plus our traditions just made it a lot of fun. He enjoyed
it. That's good to know, because I always wonder like how other fans are, because obviously going to Stillwater is not fun. You would never catch me in Austin ever.
No.
Like for anything. I will not go to Austin. LSU fans, I've had one too many bad run-ins with them. I'm actually dreading them coming to Norman in November. I'm like, oh gosh, I don't know about this. It'll be my first encounter, obviously, with them on home turf, so hopefully it'll go better. But I've heard that Florida fans are not super pleasant.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to see as time goes on and we get more exposure to them in other sports to kind of see how they do. But yeah, fun. Well, I hope you get lots of fun road trips this fall, because there's some great. And then basketball too. Do y'all travel with the basketball team even during football season?
When we travel with the basketball team is we're doing tournaments or like
okay,
like when it's like the SEC championships or playoffs or whatever, like
that makes sense. That makes sense. Okay. I was going to say that's a lot. I was, talking to Toby Rowland about his game calling and how everything overlaps with football and basketball. And then for him, basketball and baseball, and it's a lot. So, I mean, it's the same thing with the band and the mascots and all that too. I actually talked to a girl. Her episode hasn't aired yet. It will in early August. But her name's Maddie. She's a former mascot. But she had a funny Baker Mayfield story that she told when we recorded. She talked about how I think there's like 12 different people that are mascots. And so they obviously take turns, because a lot of times they have to be at more than one place at a time or different things like that. And they also, which I thought this was really cool, like they may do, like one of the people will do pregame, and then a separate person will do the first half of a football game, and then another person will do the last half. So it's not so long of a period of time in that hot suit for one. And then they can also still go and enjoy whatever they're doing. So it's so interesting to me to talk to all the different people and all the aspects, because you learn things that you don't know or that you don't think about, So.
Well, and that's when he got to you and stuff, was telling me he sent me a deal or talked to me about it from Mr. Britt. He sends out like motivational each week for him. He's
that's so
personable with it. And his messages to him, like, pick him up and say, you are seen, or, we value you, and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, especially around the time it gets towards the end of football season, we have all these practices and stuff, and we still have finals coming up.
Yes.
So all throughout the year, whenever he sends us like because we have daily itineraries for what we have to do for each day and stuff, he, sends out like a motivational quote with it, like at the very top. So.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Nice. And then as it gets closer to like test taking time and stuff, he'll write like little messages for us in there where it's like, you can do this. You guys have done this all season. You guys got this. This is nothing.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And I think that's, as a mother, you want your kid, to feel comfortable and safe. And, there were times that he sent it when he needed it the most.
Yeah. And I mean,
yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I will say that's like probably one of the best things about being in the band is, I mean, like the people that run it are like I mean, they are so supportive and just like anything
That's
you need.
awesome.
I could go to any of them and it wouldn't be a problem.
That's so cool to hear. I like to hear stuff like that because, just growing up, I think OU's the best, and I want to believe that they're the best at everything and that we have the best people in all the things. But I also don't want to be naive to that because I know that that's not always the case at every school. And so the more people I talk to and the more, stories I hear like that, I'm just like, that is so cool because to me, it just confirms like what I want to be true about my university. And I love that. So,
well, and me too. I was like, I want him to experience everything and to have a leader and someone he's going to look up to take the time to send messages to these kids and let them know that they're important and that they contribute to ball games and things like that. Is just, it's wonderful feeling to know that they care about our kids that much.
Yeah, and they're not just like a person that's there, like they actually care about you as an individual and not just, a trumpet player or a drum line, like you're an actual person. So that's really cool to hear.
I mean, like most of the time, like there's an person that's like, he helps out the trumpet section with our, like, when we do our little group sessions and stuff like that, when we're practicing and stuff. And, I mean, every time he'll come up and, how you doing? How was your day? How was your day? He'll do that to everybody, and it's just really nice to know that it's like, they care.
Well, and I saw it at the SEC when it was the rally, that they had the July 1st. Mm-hmm. And Nick had just barely been in there.
Yes.
When they were sitting down, he was going around patting them on the back and talking to each one, and he wouldn't have known Nick that closely yet, but he was building the foundations for later on.
That's awesome. I love that. That's cool to hear. Man, okay, so that was a really cool event. That was so long ago that slipped my mind. But yeah, that was like your first thing to do.
It was,
and
that's going to be a big memory. Football.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. That's going to be like a really big memory for you going forward because that was a huge event. So yeah, do you have anything to share about that? Because that's cool.
I don't. It was a crazy event. They had us.
I bet so.
It's been forever since it, but
yeah,
they had us. We did we did a few pep gigs, I think, where we just went around and played for certain people and stuff.
Yeah.
And then they put us in a box. They put us up in a lounge and stuff, and they gave us food, and we chilled out there for a while until it was time for the drones and stuff.
But, yeah, as he looked down on me from up there in the nice part, and I'm sweating in the infield. I mean,
it was hot. Yeah. Yes, that's cool though.
He kept waving. He was cool and everything, and I was down there sweating.
That's funny. Okay, so this Crimson Combine. So that was a new setup that we had this spring. So obviously I know you can't compare it to a normal spring football game, but I know I actually met up with your mom that day and I briefly saw you playing under the stadium beforehand. So do you have any memories or anything like from that particular event? Because I know that was set up kind of different. I don't even remember where you guys went. You just kind of went around playing beforehand, didn't you?
And then they put us in the corner.
South end.
Okay.
Yeah, of the stadium.
Oh, that's right. Okay, yes. Okay, I was trying to remember.
I mean, we just did a bunch of pep gigs and stuff like the.
Yeah.
But tell them about what you think about John Mateer.
Oh, I love John Mateer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He was like, Mom, did you see him?
When I was watching him practice,
he was like over the top. We are so excited about Mateer. Yeah. We think he's a game changer.
Everybody is. Let's not like.
Yes.
Did you see his face light up about
John Mateer? I did. I think that as I've heard on the radio a few times, they call Mateer the low-hanging fruit as far as the player to watch for the fall because everybody is excited about him. But I agree with you. Like, I almost feel like my face lights up talking about him too. I got to meet him at the spring combine, of course, just very briefly because I was down there with everybody else. But he was so kind, and I took a selfie with him real quick, and he was just so kind, and he seems to me a lot how like Baker was very personable.
That's what we said. He's on fire. When we watched the combine, he was pumping up everybody.
Yes.
And that was reminiscent of Baker. Baker could walk out on that field.
And just people go nuts.
Yes.
I mean, first time I ever saw John Mateer was back during basketball season after he had transferred or whatever.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
He showed up at the basketball game with all the football team. Like a bunch of the football guys and stuff. And he was down there shooting the cannon at people. And then you could just, you could literally, like, when he was coming, he came back up right beside us and stuff. And you could tell, like, the way he was with the other guys and stuff like that. It was like,
yes,
they had a chemistry already. It wasn't.
Well, and he went to the gymnastic.
Yes.
You know, he was involved in that. I mean, so it shows he's about the university. He wasn't just going to basketball because it's a big thing. He was going to gymnastics and stuff.
That's exactly what I was going to say. He was seen around campus so much at basketball, gymnastics. He was at baseball at least once, softball a couple of times, tennis, I believe. And like you said, it wasn't just like, oh, I need to go to the basketball game and be seen. I feel like he really, he wanted to be seen because he wanted to be seen integrated into the school and with the football guys and the student body and just the school in general. But he was everywhere.
Trust me. They're going to trust him because they've had that interaction and built the camaraderie and a relationship. And that's what I think made the difference with Baker. When he went into the huddle and said, we're going to pull this off, they bought in.
Yes.
I mean, they were 1,000%. All in, and I think that's what's going to happen with Mateer. He reminds me of Baker.
He does me too, and I think that's why I like him, because I'm a huge Baker fan, always have been, and I do get that vibe from him. So I like to hear other people say that too, because I'm like, okay, I'm not just the only one seeing it, but all the things that we just said, I think speaks volumes for him. So I love Coach Venables, and I really, really, really want him to do well.
Oh, I do too.
Not just for me as a fan, selfishly, but just for him as a coach and for our program. But I really hope that John Mateer and Ben Arbuckle are the keys that we needed. Because I did briefly see Coach Arbuckle that day as well at the spring combine, and he seems like he's so just like happy-go-lucky, I guess you could say, but he's serious when he needs to be. But like that day I saw him down on the field, he was just like, and he was walking around and like, some people weren't even paying much attention that it was him. So I just hollered at him and he came over and signed whatever I had. I just thought he's an integral part, of getting John Mateer here for one thing. So thank you.
Yeah, I mean,
but I think that them two coming together is a huge thing. So gosh, fingers crossed. We need a great season for so many reasons. And I think some people, I don't know, Robin, you probably do, follow like preseason watches and all the things. And a lot of people are kind of starting to like catch on, like, okay, maybe OU is going to be something. And they're kind of like the overlooked team that could end up doing something big. And I really hope that they're right, because we need it and we want it.
Yes, amen. I am ready for a season that I feel confident.
Absolutely. I know last year I felt like it was a roller coaster. Like every game, I was like, okay, which team's going to get off the bus today?
Did we leave any in the locker room?
Yeah, like I would prefer that not to happen this year, especially those big road games. And Texas, oh my gosh. Okay, so tell me about OU Texas, because that's a whole thing in and of itself.
Yeah. It's interesting.
I bet.
It's a unique experience. My first experience being at an away game too.
Right.
It wasn't really an away game, but it was an away game.
Right. Yeah.
It's crazy. The energy in that stadium is insane. On the field, it feels like you are being like crushed by everybody.
I can imagine.
It was also extremely stressful, because it's different from when you have a bunch of home fans watching you versus when you have a bunch of away fans watching you as well.
Yeah,
like darn Longhorns,
half a stadium watching you. It was really stressful. It was a unique experience listening to the playing on both sides from everything when we had to march pregame.
Well, it's not a normal home game and it's not a normal away game because it's split.
Yeah.
So you're getting equal good sounds and equal bad sounds. So yeah, it's definitely, I can imagine, a unique experience. Yeah. Have you ever sat on the 50-yard line, Robin?
Years ago.
Me too.
Years ago. I was probably 20.
Yeah.
Kid, and we had bought shirts from when you matched the dots, it said something not so nice about And so we were sitting on the 50 like the and so news people or sports people would come by and say, what does your shirt say? Well, we matched the dot and it said something inappropriate. And they go, oh, we can't film that. And then my dad was at the end zone. He's going, show us your shirt, which he'd taken me and a bunch of friends, and we stand up and match the shirt, and the whole end zone goes crazy about our shirts. And like, yeah, horns down and all this. It's my memory of being on the 50 at the railing. Always sat the, what's it called, the entrance fence.
Okay, yeah.
It came down
like
the ramp.
Tunnel.
The ramp.
The tunnel.
Yeah. And back in the 80s, you could go stand. The bathrooms were, and you could see the players coming in.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Then, of course, me and my brother always sat on the fence, and Dad sat, and Mom sat in the shade. But I can't remember, and Michael's going to kill me that I can't remember, but we had beat them, and I think it was Vince Young that was their big. Didn't we beat them?
Oh, yes.
One year.
Yes, we did.
So my brother's standing up there, and he's screaming at him, you big, calling them not so nice names. And he's hanging on the fence and yelling at him. And I tell you what, 30 birds flew at my brother, coaches, everything was flipping him off. And the next year, maybe 2 years after that, they covered it. And I said, Michael, it was because of you.
That's funny.
Dad used to go, my brother tells so many great memories with Dad and his best friend, Chad. We're coming back from a Texas Tech game, and they're driving by him. Dad, of course, plays his Boomer Sooner horns, and Michael says, all these fingers fly out of the windows at us.
Oh, I bet.
They were right next to the Texas Tech bus, and of course, Dad's blowing his horns, and they tell him how he's number one several times.
Yeah.
So Dad wasn't shy. He didn't mind letting the world know he was a Sooner fan. He wasn't shy. I think one Texas game, he threatened to beat a bunch of the Texas fans up. And I want to say he was probably in his 30s or 40s. And he was going to whoop all of them. And my mother, Dad always said he could probably fight pretty good if he could use both hands, because she was usually dragging his other hand and he was having to fight one-handed. But Dad didn't take any smack talking from anybody. Definitely defended his Sooners, and he felt like that they belonged to him. Back then, we could interact with the players. We went down on the field.
Right.
Me and my cousin, her dad was a big OU fan too. And, they went to games together. They weren't brothers, they were cousins, but we say they were brothers. Right. And so we would travel to away games with them and stuff. And we would go down on the field, and we would to see them wrapped in the conference rooms before games, because Dad always stayed in the same hotel as they did.
Yeah, that's
and
awesome.
I think that feeling now is gone, because they felt like they belonged to us. When they won, we were excited. When they lost, and there wasn't the booing and the being mad at coaches or players, because they belonged to it.
Yeah.
Dad always looked at it, because we would stay till the last minute. And then you had to go out to the locker room, because back then Barry and the boys would come out. The locker room, Sonny Brown, Paul Migliazzo, Tony Casillas, Sonny Brown, all those guys.
Yeah.
So we interacted with them. We got to talk to them. Great game, whatever. In the away games, you would go and stand and watch them come out of the hotel, cheer them on. Mm-hmm. Then you race to the field to see them get off the bus, cheer them into the stadium, watch the game. You came out and cheered them as they got back on the bus and stuff. And so, like I said, they belong. Dad always looked at it. They were for entertainment. They were young kids just playing on a scholarship. Mm-hmm. And they didn't have to be special or anything like that. They were somebody's kid. Now with all of it, it takes that away. Now we put them on a pedestal, which is fine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No longer young kids. But in the scheme of things, it just takes it away a little bit.
I completely agree with that.
Changes come, but I miss those days. Mm-hmm. I watched Barry Switzer. I've seen him after games. He'll say, boys, follow me to the car, or follow me. And he sign everything for everybody till he got in his fancy Corvette or whatever it was. And he would stay there after a 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock game. He would sign for everybody. I always thought, that was something special. It's something that these kids miss out on now.
It's so different for so many reasons, but like I even think back in the late 80s, early 90s when I would go with my dad, and our seats were on the west side of the stadium where that tunnel is, and we were right against the wall. So I would go over there and hang my OU flag over the visitor tunnel and wave my OU flag when the visitors came out. But also, like, you could go down to the front railing of the stadium or the front wall or whatever after the games. And again, like the players and the coaches and stuff would come over there. And I've even found now with what I'm doing, like, a lot of people are very accessible if you just reach out to them.
Right.
Like all the people I've talked to, but football people are very hard to get to. And it's a totally different world than it used to be. Obviously, none of those things happen anymore with football games that used to happen, 20, 30 years ago. Like I said, I've reached out to so many people in all aspects of the athletic department. And most people are, like I said, very accessible. But not the football people, not the players, not the coaches. It's a whole new level. And I totally understand it. Like, I respect it. I'm not complaining. The only person that's told me no as far as recording with me was someone from the football department. And again, it's no disrespect to that person. I understand why he did. But it's also hard because, like, we're disconnected from them.
That's what
I feel like, we're disconnected. It's not like, oh, the softball girls that hang out over here, or you can lean over the fence and they'll talk to you, or even the basketball players and things like that. So the most personable experience I've ever had, at least in my adult years for sure, with football has been the ladies' clinics. And that's why I was so sad they canceled that this year, because those coaches and players were there because they wanted to be there, and they just acted like you were their best friend. Like, they would call you by name because you had your name tag on, and they would give you a hug and your autograph and take a picture and do whatever. And that was the most personable experience that I've ever had as far as football players go in my adult life, because of all the changes. And I do hate those changes that have happened, but I also understand it to an extent. But things are just so different now. I mean, it's just
and when
weird
Dad
to
bought
see
his tickets in 1973, where we sit on the west side, he got close to the ramp. So he could see Barry and the boys, because they used to come out on that side. And I was pregnant with Nick, and Barry was coming down it, and I was like, ran up to the wall, and there was a bunch of Boy Scouts and stuff trying to get his signature. He'd signed a couple. He goes, I've got to go. And I go, Barry, I need you to sign my fan. And he goes, I'm busy. And I go, you're going to knock down the Boy Scout. Pregnant. And I go, you're going to do this to a pregnant woman that has raced down here to get your signature? And he goes, okay, I'll sign it. He goes, you're going to have to watch out for the Boy Scouts. And I go, hey, I come first.
The Boy Scouts.
I can take him down with this belly. Get out of my way.
That's funny.
But, I mean, even now, even all those years later, he was still, taking the time. And I think that's anything against Bob or Britt or any of them. I just think that's why everyone thinks of Barry as the king, is because he did make himself and the players, after games, they would come to if you went to a away game, they came to the visitors' side.
Yes, they did.
Cheered at us, and, you could lean over the wall and they'd high five us and stuff. And I think just made his players respect the fans.
And be thankful for them, because I've heard other coaches tell me, like Mark Williams, the men's gymnastics coach, has said this. The track coach told me this. The soccer coach has told me this. But they've all told me, like, the fans are what make what we do worthwhile. Like, we want them to come. We want to interact with them. We want to thank them. And so I definitely think that's something that's a little more removed with football, which I get it. I mean, back then, the stadium was not half the size it is now, but significantly smaller. So there's not only that.
It will always be Owen Field to me.
I know, same. I agree.
Call it anything but Owen Field.
I'm the same way. But I'm like, well, it's 86,000 people now. So there's that too, on top of everything else. So it's just, it's just a lot that's changed over the years. But I think deep down they know that the fans are important, but also like football is what draws in all the fans. And I think that they know, okay, well, it's more of a business now, and we're still going to get the fans. Like they're still going to come.
Oh,
You know
absolutely.
what I mean? And so they don't revere it as much as the other sports that maybe don't get as much fan interaction. So there's that. But so I remember when you were pregnant with Nick, because I was at Lone Grove back then. So that's so funny. Like, I'm just like, oh, look at Nick now. He's in college.
We knew you back when you were in the belly.
I did. So how old were you, Nick, when you went to your first OU Texas game?
I was 19.
I didn't take you
Oh,
to
were you?
OU
Okay.
Texas because, let me explain.
Yeah, let me hear it, because
I
I've
always
got some thoughts
went,
on
me
OU
and my
Texas.
brother, we went, and my family went to OU Texas. Well, we went early in the 80s because Dad was tired of having to whip every Texas fan. But we started going again, and we went every year. Well, when Sam Bradford was playing Touchdown Club, because we were a member of the Touchdown Club, they said, report anybody that lets this fans sit in this area because it was reserved for the Touchdown Club. Well, of course, I get the one Longhorn that wants to sit beside me and mouths. Well, Sam Bradford, if you remember, got hurt that game.
Yes.
And so he's feeling, good job, yay, glad he's hurt. And I said, dude, on the other side of the field, you have a whole half of a stadium. I want to sit with my people. And so he kept mouthing, and I started getting angry, and I start mouthing back. My mother's telling me to stop. I go, I'm not putting up with this. He's got a whole freaking stadium to go across, and he wants to sit here and sit by me. And finally, I was so mad when he started talking about Sam Bradford and everything. Well, I'm going to lose it right now. So my mother grabs me and pulls me away, and she goes, Robin, you're too old to fight over a football game. And I said, not really, but okay.
No.
And then after that, I kind of thought, probably time for me to stop. I understand where my dad got, because it was like I wanted to whoop everybody that said something ugly.
I hear you.
And Texas is full of them. And as we were walking out of the stadium, the vendors, are real friendly when you walk in. Well, we were trying to leave because we were losing and beat the craziness. Well, the vendors were coming out and yelling at us. Why are you leaving? Why are you leaving? Oh, y'all are losers.
Oh, my gosh.
And my brother and Chad were walking in front of me. And vendors stepped out and told me to turn my horns right side up. And I said, dude, I'm just trying to get out of here. Yeah. And he just kept mouthing, and my brother and Chad came back, was fixing to whoop him. He goes, yeah, you're talking to a woman like that. You didn't talk to us that way, And
yeah, right.
And I decided it was probably time to quit. So in his defense, he came after my escapade, and I couldn't go back.
Well, I don't blame you for that. I have told this story before. I don't know if you've heard it, Robin, but so like I went to my first OU Texas with my dad, and I was like 10 years old, like 10 or 11 years old. And my niece now is 10. And I think about taking her to OU Texas with me, and there is no way in hell I would do that. No. I mean, as an adult, like as a kid, I'm just like, oh my gosh, my dad's going to take me to OU Texas. This is crazy. This is awesome. Okay, great. And, I can vividly remember a lot of aspects of those games. I know I went to 2 with him when I was younger, about that age, but now as an adult, there's no way I would take a kid. And I know it's even progressed more in the last 30, but still I'm just like, I can't believe my dad took me to that part of Dallas as a 10-year-old kid. Like, it's just mind blowing to me that I can't believe my mom let him take me, but I would never. So I always like to ask people when they went to their first OU Texas game,
Nancy
because if they were a kid,
year old when we took her. That was,
wow.
Yeah, we took her early on. Dad didn't go to any games that he didn't want to take Nancy to.
Yeah.
In Nick's defense, Dad had passed before he came.
Yeah. He would have took you.
Yeah. Dad took her. And as a matter of fact, I can't remember what year was when Roy Williams flew over. What year was that?
Oh, that would have been like 02 maybe?
Yeah, okay. I was going to say Nancy was a little bit older, but I'll never forget Dad had Nancy in his arms when that event happened, and I remember him looking at me and he goes, awesome. Oh my gosh, did you just see this? And Nancy's like trying to get her, and he's bouncing everywhere and he's going nuts and he has her in his arms and she has no clue what's going on. And I'm thinking,
yeah,
oh my gosh, we have dragged this child to a game and my father can't even concentrate that he's got her in his arms and he's going nuts, jumping up and down with this baby in his arms. And
that's so funny.
Now looking back, it wasn't the best decisions. And I always tell the story. She was, of course, teaching at Lone Grove. We were the Longhorns. Never did the Longhorn sign. I just couldn't.
At least they were black.
Yes. Nancy, of course, we've been taking her for years to the OU Texas, and she learned horns down. Well, she was supposed to be a princess for homecoming, and all the boys in the court was going, "Go Nancy, go Nancy," and walks out doing like this. And Blake Scott goes, "She doesn't know she's a Longhorn."
Yeah, she doesn't know. Blake,
she's a Sooner till she dies, because they were all holding them up, and she knew that we were supposed to put them down. So she's walking out for homecoming with her horns down. The things, But like I said, Nick's gone with me now forever because he's been my
I think the first games I started consistently going to, I went forever when I was like younger but I think the first games I started, like the first year I started consistently going was Baker's first game. That was the first game I think I really started
understanding it and stuff.
I remember as we were going back, she goes, "That new guy is a little flat-footed." Because I remember telling her, I was like, "He's really good." I think he's really flat-footed.
I think I'm a coach. So it's after all these years. And what's shocking is when my cheerleaders don't know defense or offense. I'm like, up on that. How do you not know what is defense and offense?
They're not paying attention to that.
No, and that's him. I mean, he's known sports.
Yeah, I know pretty much all the rules.
Well, and he grew up with being my partner, because not everybody loves to go to the games with me. Let's be real.
I'm the same way, so I have a short list of guests.
He's been my partner for so many years that I would drag. I dragged Nancy, and then she got to where she didn't want to go, so he took over when they wanted to go separate.
Yeah.
Bless his heart. He sat with me through so many games. Nancy sat game with me with strep throat, and I was telling her she was just fine. Just suck it up.
Well, you've done that quite a few times.
Yes, he's been sick of dragging. It was just what we did. I mean, my mother, season Dad got to go to. It was his 31st kickoff. Mom was sick in bed and couldn't go. And he goes, "Do you want me to stay?" She goes, "No, go ahead." And he goes, "You sure now?" Because he was taking me and my brother and Nancy and Peyton and all of us. And she goes, "No, just go ahead." And he goes, "Really, I'll stay." And Mom knew he wasn't going to stay.
You don't want to.
No, he left her a cup of water, and we hightailed it out there before she could change her mind.
That's so funny.
Well, and when Dad got burned, he hadn't missed a game in 20 years. He'd never missed a game till he got burned. And that was the first game he missed. And it was Gaddis and all of them. And he had talked to his burn doctor because they had to dilate his eyes and stuff because of the burn. And he talked to the nurses. We begged him, "Don't do his eyes. He needs to see this game and stuff." So we get it okayed, and we go in, and Dad is just furious. He can't talk because he's got a trach, and he's just, others going, "What's wrong? What's wrong?" And he's pointing at his eyes. They had dilated his eyes anyway, and he couldn't watch the game. But Merv Johnson, a lot of Dad's friends called Merv Johnson, who used to help with the sports animal and all of that. And he did a shout out to Daddy, saying that he was sad that he couldn't be at his, but they were all thinking and praying of it for him. So, there was a lot of fun times with that. Getting mad about games and, things like that. He took it very serious.
Yeah. Well, I think I've told you this before. I mean, I know I've mentioned that our dads, for sure, I wish they would have known each other, because they would have caused all kinds of trouble together. But my dad wrote a letter to Barry Switzer back in the 80s. I still have it. I've posted it on social media before, but he literally wrote this letter to Barry, I don't know, saying God knows what, but Barry sent a letter in return. And I have that letter, and it was like, "Dear Mr. Thank you for your support of OU football, yada yada," and this whole big thing about we appreciate whatever his concerns were. So anyway, it was hilarious, and I get that letter, and like I said, I've posted it before, and I show people, and I'm like, in case you wonder why I'm the way that I am, this happened. This is my dad. And then, so when my dad was sick with cancer, we had some friends that had a connection with someone in the athletic department, and he got a signed card from Bob Stoops and a signed football that I still have. But the card, it's hanging up here next to me. We have it framed after my dad passed away because he carried it with him everywhere. But it was just a signed card from Bob Stoops saying, "Jerry, the Sooners are praying for you. You know, thank you for being a supportive Sooner for your life." And anyway, and my dad was so proud of that card. He literally carried it. I don't think he had been that proud since I graduated from OU, but those two moments in his life were probably his favorite moments ever. But anyway, I still have that card hanging up here because, again, I like to tell people, in case you wonder why I'm the way that I am, here you go, Exhibit A, Exhibit B, because we can't help it.
No, well, and Dad got so excited when Sherry got hired as the
women's. My gosh, I bet so.
Yeah, because he worked with her dad and knew her family. He remembered her. He used to go and play dominoes with her dad and remembered her little and running around the house and stuff. And because when they come in on weekends, they play dominoes and stuff. And she got the job at OU. He called her up and said, I'll join whatever group you got going, whatever club, sign us up. So she took him in there to help him pick out where his seats were. And he was going across Lloyd Noble from her. And she goes, "Mike, the team sits here. You want to sit behind us and everything?" He goes, "Nope, I want to sit across from you and watch you coach all night long." And he loved it. He loved to be able to tell that he knew Sherry Cole. And when he passed,
I bet so.
She sent, she was recruiting, sent a flower arrangement that said, "Now you have the best seats in the house."
Oh, I love it.
She often said, or he told people, she kept saying, "No, over here's the best seats." And he was bound and determined he was going to sit where he could watch her face. And he got to where he knew all her plays.
Oh, I bet.
But he loved, her and being able to say he knew her. And like when we would go to football games, because we sit so close to the field and she knew where we were, she would come up and wave at us and Dad would go down there, and he loved everybody knowing that he knew Sherry. So that was his claim to fame, is he knew Sherry from when she was a little bitty girl, but she was one of a kind. She never
absolutely,
turned away fans or anything, and she is authentic as you can possibly get. She's a hometown, small town girl that
she is.
Forgot her roots, and I think that's what makes her so special. Just,
I agree.
Well, I tell people what you see is exactly how she's always been. It's not a performance. It's not anything that she is on the court and off.
That's cool. But I wanted to make sure that if there was anything, Nick, that you wanted to share about any of your favorite memories growing up, or anything else, Robin, that you definitely wanted to share before we wrap up. I didn't want y'all to leave anything out.
I don't know. I guess just the most important thing is I want people to realize that we are fans, win or lose, all year long. And I tell people, I tell my students when, they're OSU fans or something, love a team with all your heart. Whether you are raised in it or whatever, because it brings joy. There's a lot of sadness sometimes. You feel like you're a part. There's been many games that I've walked away going, I feel like I played 4 quarters.
I totally agree.
Because you're so invested. And like superstitions, when the 2000 came, I believed, if you won in a shirt, you didn't change it. You just kept wearing it. So it was January, and we're wearing white beater shirts, tank tops, and it's snowing outside. And, we're superstitious. Him right in the car when we were going to my brother's to watch the OU Baylor game. And we were behind, so I said, we're just going home. I'm not sitting here watching this. And when we left, we started winning. And so I told Nick, I go, we can't go home. We have to stay in the car till this game is over. because we started winning and I was going to mess up the mojo.
Yeah, I get it.
We go home and I go, no, we got to drive until the game's over.
Poor Nick.
Doing a ritual like they can't come in once the game started.
Oh, yeah.
Because you either have to be there at kickoff or you have to stay in there.
Yep. That's the rule here, too.
But, you know, there was just superstitions that you did that I think some of my favorite memories of growing up as a Sooner fan, seeing my dad and brother Bob and our family tailgating on the oval, just having that feeling, anticipation, and you couldn't wait for it. It would wake us up. Didn't matter what time the game was, to the Pride, which tickles me now. He had the Pride of Oklahoma album.
Yes.
And
my gosh, yes, I had that
on
too.
Game days, him playing Boomer Sooner and OKLAHOM, the OU chant. I know I messed up.
It just make Nick play it now.
Yeah. And, you know, us loading up, we'd drive by Scotta's and she'd have potato salad and chicken, and we wouldn't even get out. She'd just take it out to Daddy.
Gosh, I love it.
And we would go up early and we would just sit for hours and watch Al Ashback and, you know, all those guys, and just like a community and a family, and it's just passed on. And I hope that my kids one day realize that this is my dad's gift.
Yes.
Trust, depending on the year, that it's something that as families we've shared for generations. Yes, and that's what I want for him and Nancy, that when they take their kids, they can talk about when Mimsy, as I'm called, took them to the games, and that I was fanatical, because, you know, we buried Dad in an OU casket with his OU shoes, his OU belt buckle, and his 7-time national championship hat, and we haven't won since. So I'm wondering if we shouldn't do something, put some sage out there to kind of bring us good luck. But, you know, it's just my family's, this is who I am. Like Billy said, when he first came to my house, when we first got mating, he walked down into our den and there was OU stuff everywhere. And he said it looked like what does he call it? Shrine.
Like a shrine, yeah.
Everywhere. And he goes, I've never seen anything like this in my life. So, you know, I just hope I pass on a love of a sport or a school that my kids can enjoy for the years to come. What's your favorite memory?
I love that.
Like,
I love
in
that.
general?
Yeah, I guess in general. What's your favorite memory?
I don't know. It's definitely from this year, because it's just like, it's so much stuff that we do that it's kind of hard not to.
Well, and you're a part of it.
Yeah.
And I'm living vicariously through him.
Absolutely.
No,
you should be.
I enjoyed, loved the Alabama game. That was my favorite. And it wasn't just because, it was just, there was something weird about that day, because I remember telling one of my friends and stuff, like, there's something off about today. Something's a little weird. Something weird. I was like, because it just didn't feel like a normal game day or something like that.
Yeah.
It just felt a little different and stuff. And when we started winning, we were all like insanely excited, because everybody was talking at the time. They were saying all this stuff about how there was no way we could possibly win. No way.
Right.
Well, and I'm glad he got to see the storm the field like we did with Nebraska, and, you know, because of course we went to the Nebraska games too, and it's cold. We were 1 and 2. But for him to get to experience it, I'm sorry.
All this, in between plays and stuff like that, we have nothing to do besides talk to each other about it and stuff, like hype each other up and keep it all good and stuff. It's just crazy the amount of because we were talking to each other and we were like, they intercepted it, ran it back for a touchdown. What's going on? Okay. And then,
what is happening?
You know, and then at halftime, we scored right before halftime. Like in that
Yes.
We were on the field. I was in the tunnel.
Yes.
I was in the tunnel where the schooner comes out, because they were like, get against the wall, get against the wall. They want them to run over your feet.
Yeah, right.
It's crazy being right there for that touchdown, because it was like guys went crazy. Everybody went crazy.
So that is awesome. That's a good memory. I just remember storming the field after the game, and I hadn't done that since Nebraska in 2000. So everything about that game was not expected, and I think that's what made it so great.
Oh,
so,
absolutely. When you least expect it. And you see Sooner Magic.
Yes.
It's a real thing. Sooner Magic.
It totally is.
When you see it firsthand, it's just, you can't put a price on that feeling.
You can't deny it, because there's literally no other explanation for it. But I like what you said about, long story short, basically owning who you are as an OU fan, and that really defines who you are as a person. And I've always felt that way about myself too. And that's why I do a lot of stuff by myself. I've gone to softball games by myself, or even basketball games, and it's just something where I'm like, I want to do this. It brings me joy. I plan my life around watching on TV if I don't go, and that's just what I do. And I've just built my life around that. And everyone knows, don't bother Larissa on Saturday during football seasons, because not only do I watch OU, but I also watch other games. And same with basketball. Like if OU's playing basketball, I'm watching. Softball, I'm watching, and all of that. And so that's how I'm known.
Yeah, me too.
And that's how my dad was known.
Well, and when you think of my students, think of me, they know I love OU, and that's who I am.
Yeah, exactly.
But like Jody,
you'll say,
sorry, you're going to go by yourself, and I go, I've got 80,000 of my friends there. We're good.
Exactly. And sometimes I would rather go by myself, because I don't have to worry about if somebody else is hot or cold or uncomfortable or hungry or whatever. Like, I just go do my thing, and there I am.
Well, and I've sit with people like Debbie Warman and her husband have sat by me probably 25, 30 years.
Yeah.
And then Patty and John sit next to me on the other side, and they've sat by me probably at least 35. So it's not like I'm going in sitting by myself.
Exactly.
I'm sitting with
you're with your friends.
I'm with my people, you know.
I hear you. I love it. I love it.
Well, thank you for including us.
Yeah. I'm so glad. You're welcome. Thank you, Nick, for putting up with us and sharing all your fun stories. I hope you get lots more memories this coming school year, football, all the things, because I think it's going to be a good year for us.
I want him to experience it.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, thank you. And Boomer.
I hope you all enjoyed those fun stories by my sweet friend Robin and Nick. And again, thank you to you guys for coming onto the podcast this week and sharing all of your stories and memories. And Nick, I can't wait to see you on the field this fall with the Pride of Oklahoma Marching Band. So for this week's Sooner headlines of the week, I'm going to save football for last. So I want to touch on a few other things around the world of Sooner sports. In case you've missed it, I know I've mentioned this the last several weeks with Cade Horton, who just continues to show off on the mound for the Cubs in the major leagues. And as a former Sooner, I could not be more proud to see him on the mound doing his thing. He has an average of 6 innings pitched, 0 earned runs. He only had 3 hits and 7 strikeouts the other night. His ERA is just incredible. He has been able to pitch a lot. He was removed from the mound late last week due to some pain in his shoulder, but it wasn't anything serious. So just a shout out to our former Sooner pitcher, Cade Horton, who is showing out in the MLB, and so much fun following him. We also have Cade Cavalli, who is a former Sooner. He's been playing some as well in the MLB, and you can follow all these guys on social media. And I try to share all of the updates on their performances on my Twitter account or X, and in my Facebook and Instagram stories. So be sure and follow me at Sooner Girl Pod on all platforms, and you will receive fun updates like this on our former Sooners across the league as they are accomplished during the week. Our softball girls, we had the MLB Home Run Derby in Oklahoma City, Bricktown Ballpark, just this past weekend. Lauren Chamberlain emceed the event. Patty threw out the first pitch. Tiare, Kinsey, and Jossie were Team OU, who made it to the finals of the Home Run Derby. We had Ella and Cassidy on Team Yankees. And then we had Sid Romero and Jada Coleman, who were on the Dodgers team, and they won the Home Run Derby and advanced to the next round in Salt Lake City here later this fall. It was so much fun, such a fun event. I really am sad that I didn't get out to witness that and experience it in person, but it looked like a great turnout. There were a lot of Sooners represented, and the future is bright, as if we needed another reminder for Oklahoma softball. Seeing Ella Parker and Cassidy Pickering show off their bats and their power at the Home Run Derby. It was just a really neat experience. So I wanted to give a shout out to our former Sooners, Sid Romero and Jada Coleman, as they head to Salt Lake City for the Home Run Derby later this fall. We will be cheering for you. All of Sooner Nation is behind you. Our soccer team is a 4-0 start after a win over Tulsa on the road just this past Sunday. Another incredible win by Matt Mott and Hadley Morrell and their team. It has been so much fun to watch those girls on the field so far this season. Again, I was at Bedlam last weekend. I got to meet Hadley, who is a forward on the team. She's a senior. She's been at OU all 4 years. I hosted her and Coach Matt Mott on the podcast earlier this summer in June. If you missed that episode, you're a soccer fan, I highly recommend you go back and give it a listen. They're such great people. They've put in a lot of work and effort for this program. They are really putting on a show on the pitch. So I recommend that you check out their schedule on social media on Soonersports.com and get out and support the squad. They are so much fun to watch, and I can't wait to see them again later in the season when I make it to another game. I am planning to go see Texas in Norman on October the 19th. I believe the game's at 2 p.m. that day, but horns down always. Can't wait to be able to cheer them on again that day. And if you can make another game out to support the soccer team, I highly recommend you do so. You will not be disappointed. It is free admission this season at John Crane Field in Norman, so you have no excuse. Volleyball, single game tickets are on sale now, but mark your calendars if you're going to be around and you're not heading down to Dallas for OU Texas on Friday night, October the 10th. It is Fan Appreciation Night, free admission for the game against South Carolina. So if you're going to be around or you're not heading down to Dallas until Saturday morning, I recommend you mark your calendars and get out to McCaslin Fieldhouse to support our volleyball girls. They start their regular season this coming week. They had a free exhibition at McCaslin just this past weekend, had a good turnout, had an autograph session, got to visit with and meet some of the fans. So I'm looking forward to getting out to support them this season. It will be my first ever volleyball game. I've never been to one. So I'm looking forward to doing that later this fall. And again, I encourage you to mark your calendar, plan around their schedule. You can check it out on their social media or Soonersports.com. And get out and support. The tickets, I believe, are only $8 for your single game admission. The season tickets are really affordable if you're interested in that. And again, if you want to get out and support them for free on Fan Appreciation Night, Friday night, October the 10th against South Carolina. And OU Texas football is the next day. So I realize a lot of people won't still be around for that. But if you are in town, I would love to see you there. Get out and support our volleyball girls. Our track and field cross country team gets started back up this week with the Cowboy preview in Stillwater. Hopefully the weather will cooperate, allow them to run later this week as they get their season started. You can follow along on their social media for all of those results. And I wish the best of luck to head coach James Thomas, who I had on the podcast earlier this summer as well, and all of his fellow coaching staff and athletes as they get their season started this fall. For my Sooner MVP of the week, I am going to choose Coach Matt Mott and the freshman Ali Lasanoli of our OU soccer team. As I mentioned before, they are 4-0, undefeated. Had a great road win at Tulsa this past weekend. They beat a ranked team in Bedlam last Sunday night, 4-1. I was there, got to witness that one in person, and it was so much fun to watch that team. And so just a shout out to Coach Matt and all of those players. You get my Sooner MVP of the week, and I am so excited to see what you do the rest of the season for our Sooners. Okay, I saved the best for last. Football, we are at time of episode drop here. We are 3 days out from kickoff. We have all been looking forward to this for so long, and in the spirit of getting ready for football season, I decided to start a fantasy league. And I have not done fantasy football since the early 2000s. The league I was a part of back then disbanded, and I had never gotten back on that train for quite some time. And someone suggested to me, he was like, hey, you're trying to get women involved and more knowledgeable about sports. How about you start a fantasy league? And I thought, well, heck, why not? So I reached out to my locker room girls and a couple of close friends and was like, hey, I'm going to do this if you want to be a part of it. So we are hosting our draft. If you're listening to this on episode drop day, I'm hosting our draft on Thursday, the 28th, and the regular season starts on September 4th. I believe that I can still sign up new members post draft. So if you're listening to this after our draft on Thursday and you're still interested, I would be happy in checking into that to see if I can still add you to our fantasy team if it's not too late. But I am doing a college pick'em. The week 1 picks are already up. For my team, I have several people already signed up, and we'll be doing the college pick'em. And the college pick'em is a much easier thing to do for those who aren't quite sure where to begin with fantasy, not sure that they have the time to commit. You basically just pick who you think's going to win the college game that they give you a slate of each week. So I'm looking forward to hosting those groups this fall. And if you're interested in joining, just shoot me a message at Sooner Girl Pod across all social media. I'll be happy to try to add you to the group. It should not be too late for the college pick'em. If you're listening to this before our draft, I can for sure get you added to that. If it's after the fact, I'm happy to add you to my list for next year's league, because assuming this goes well and everybody has a great time, I'm planning on continuing it in the future. I did announce something exciting on social media. I'm recording this on Monday, August the 25th, and I did drop a graphic today announcing our new segment of the podcast that should be starting next week with my friend, Dr. Jason Linen, who is a sports family medicine doctor in Oklahoma City. We are going to be doing a special segment, injury report on the football team, to discuss any injuries that are on the team and what their possible rehab is, what are we looking at as far as them being out, things like that. Just trying to discuss and learn more about injuries on our team from a medical perspective. So my friend Jason came to me with this idea a few months ago, and I loved it. So I appreciate him coming up with that idea and being willing to come onto the podcast every week for 10 or 15 minutes or so, depending on the length of the injury list, which hopefully isn't much, but I'll be chatting with him each week about all of our injuries, and I am very much looking forward to that. So be sure you tune in next week and going forward during football season as we discuss those injuries with Dr. Jason Linen. Another big announcement that came out regarding football this past week was that the SEC will be going to 9 conference games starting next season in 2026. They also hinted that those schedules will be available later this season, probably in early December as they were last year. But each school will play 3 annual opponents. The Sooners will obviously play Texas and 2 other schools. It's been greatly speculated in the last several days, everyone discussing on who those possible teams may be. Some are guessing LSU and Missouri just due to proximity and those other 2 schools and their lack of rival opponents that they have. So who knows when we will find out who those will be, but obviously one of our 3 will be Texas, the other 2 up for grabs. But I do see a lot of value in the case that's being stated for Missouri and LSU. So I'll be curious to see what direction the SEC goes with that for Oklahoma going forward. Also of note, SEC teams are required to schedule at least 1 additional high-quality non-conference game from the Atlantic Coast, Big Ten, or Big 12 conferences, or Notre Dame each season, which is a good reminder as to why we scheduled Michigan for this season and next. We have Clemson on that slate for us. We have several other great high-quality teams coming up for us to fit that bill for OU. So no shortage of quality games for the Sooners in the near future. A few notes from Venable's preview show, courtesy of George Stoya and the Sooner Scoop. There were 17 players that earned at least 8 votes for a team captain. They are ready to unleash Danny Okoye to the SEC. Fabuchi Nuaye is the most consistent OL in camp, and Fasusi Foje are still fighting for starting spots. But we have 8 positions represented with 10 players on the Senior Bowl 300 watch list for the season. We have Burks, Daniels, Dolby, Halton, Jones, Jr., Mateer, Ott, Spears Jennings, Thomas, and Williams in the Senior Bowl watch list. The Sooners are tied for 3rd for most players considered for that. Our week 1 depth chart was revealed on Monday, and there are several things to note. One of the first things that I noticed is our starting tight end is none other than Jaren Kanak, which I find extremely interesting, seeing as he's never played a snap on the offense for the Sooners in his collegiate career. But I think hopefully that is speaking volumes for the time commitment and the work that he put in the offseason. I think I have mentioned this before, and it's been noted across most of social media that Jaren has spent a lot of time in the film room studying his position, a lot of time in camp and practice with his coach, his position coaches and strength coaches, and trying to do what he needs to do to be the best tight end that he can be. And I think he's really working hard to capitalize on making the most of this position change for him. So to see him in the top spot as a tight end, it really does warm my heart. I'm a big fan of Jaren Kanak. I really hope that his practice and commitment pays off this season on the field, and we see a lot of good things from him going forward. A few other things to note on the depth chart. Barnes is listed as RB1. Blaylock listed as RB2. We have 3 starters at left tackle and right tackle. We also have 3 starters at Will and Boganowski at FS, and Ott is on a kick return and Satanga on a punt return. Everyone seems to think that Ott is going to play a whole lot. George Storia says that Barnes and Blaylock were the only backs who stayed healthy all during camp. Being placed that high in the depth chart is a reward for that, and also performing well during camp as well. It's also important to note that Michael Hawkins Jr. retains the number 2 spot at QB behind our starter John Mateer. Lots of oars are on the defense, so it'll be interesting to see how that pans out, especially going forward with the opener against Illinois State. And then the following week, as Michigan comes to town, a big test for us. So it will be interesting to see how that depth chart fluctuates after we get a glimpse of week 1. Jaden Ott is listed 3rd at RB, but number 1 at kick return. Jaron Canick is the start after converting to linebacker, as I mentioned earlier. No Bowen or Dolby listed on this depth chart. That could be a little concerning, but again, this could change after week 1, week 2. We know that Bowen has an injury, but we were kind of told that it wasn't anything too serious and that he should be back. So I'll be curious to see how that plays out in the next few weeks as well. I did listen to Gabe and Teddy's Oklahoma Breakdown podcast that just released this past Sunday, and they were talking about their hot takes for the year, and I thought that they were very important to note. So these are coming from Gabe and Teddy on their podcast. This is their personal hot takes for the season, and Teddy thinks that we are going to have 2,000-yard rushers for the season. It's been a while since that happened. Back in 2018 was the last time. So we are due for that. We need a high-powered offense to get us going. It's been a while since we've seen that on our team, and it's past time. And I am right on board with Teddy to think that that could be a possibility for us going forward this season. R. Mason Thomas wants the sack record, and the previous sack record is 14 total for the season. So he's hoping, Teddy said, that he will front load that a little bit here in the non-conference games earlier in the season, get a head start on some sacks. That way, just making a few adjustments going forward, he'll be able to snag some in the regular SEC conference games. But front loading that number early in the non-conference games is crucial, I believe. And Teddy said that as well, for him to even begin to attain that number. But props to RMT for wanting to reach that goal, to beat that goal, and leave a mark on our defense. I could not be more excited about watching him on the line and giving a lot of pressure to those quarterbacks coming in. Teddy also thinks that John Mateer will have more touchdown passes than he did last year, which was 44 in the season. So he's going to have to do a lot to attain that number, but I think it's possible that that could happen. And if we have 2,000 yards, we have our defense putting a lot of pressure on their offense and possibly just throwing off their team chemistry and balance. I'm here for it. I'm here to watch John Mateer. We all have high hopes for him going into the season. He is a preseason favorite. We do hope that he stays at the top, maybe a Heisman favorite going on through the season as we get closer to December. But for John Mateer to have more touchdown passes than he did last year at Washington State, which was 44, I would be more than okay with that, because again, it's been a while since we've seen a high-powered offense on the field for Oklahoma football. And I know that us as fans want nothing more, as does the coaching staff and the players that are putting in the work. No one wants anything more than to see a high-powered offense from OU football this fall. Teddy also said that Kendall Daniels will be Defensive Player of the Week for SEC twice. So again, with our defense putting a lot of pressure on the opposing offense going forward in all of our games, nothing would make me happier than to see a Brent Venables-led defense showing out in the SEC week after week and getting those accolades, getting that recognition, getting those rewards, and making themselves known, making their presence known in the SEC after last year's mediocre season. We need to change the trajectory of our football program, and this is the time to do it for so many reasons. This is a crucial, pivotal season for our coaching staff, for a lot of our players, for our university going forward. This is not the time to have to clean house, revamp, start from scratch, all of that. We need everything that's been invested into this program, the players, the coaching staff, all of it. We need it to pay off, and we need it to pay off quick. So I am all on board with Gabe and Teddy's hot takes. Let's get out on the field and show off and show what we can do. Like I said, it's been a while since we've had a high-powered offense on the field for us. And with our defense, I don't think that anyone would be surprised that a Brent Venables defense is showing out each week and getting that recognition. And for Kendall Daniels to be Defensive Player of the Week more than one time for the SEC, I don't necessarily think that's super far-fetched, but I'm here for it because we need all the recognition positively that we can get in the conference. Okay, for Gabe, his hot takes. He says Jaden Jackson is an all SEC first team. And I think that would be a fantastic thing to happen to Oklahoma football again. I think it's just another one of those things where with Jaden, he needs to get out, be able to show off and leave a mark, not only on the program, but in the conference. Get that attention, get that recognition in a positive way for our university, for our football program, for our coaches. And if Jaden is able to do that, then I think that's incredible, and I am here for that hot take. Gabe also says that he hopes that Jaren Kanik's stats at tight end by the end of this season would have made him a leading receiver last season. And again, I'm here for that. I'm a big fan of Jaren Kanik. I know that he's put in the work this season for our team, and to see him, he's number one on the depth chart in that position, to get out there and produce, get things done, move the ball, get the yards, get the score, get the points. If he gets the stats, and Bauer Sharp was our leading receiver last year, and I don't remember the number of yardage that he had total for the season, but to be quite honest, it was a little embarrassing. But again, I feel like I'm saying the same thing over again, but high-powered offense. We haven't seen it on our field in quite some time now, and we are past due for it. We are here for it. To get those numbers, to get that recognition, we're going to need all of these things to happen. And as Teddy said, if one of these things happen, it's going to be really easy for all of the other ones to keep happening. It's like a snowball effect. So all of these things keep happening. We get those receivers with the yards. We get Jaren Kanik out there getting his yardage. We get him scoring touchdowns. We're going to have the receivers. We're going to have John Mateer throwing touchdown passes. They're going to make it to the end zone. We're going to have wins. We're going to have players of the week in the conference. We're going to hit those records. We're going to have a remarkable defense that's putting the pressure on the opposing quarterback. We're going to have all of these things that fall into place. And another key part of the football team that Gabe and Teddy wanted to go ahead and point out this season, and I'm glad that they did because I haven't heard much else about Tate Sandell, but Gabe thinks that he will make the longest field goal in SEC for the season. At some point, they have seen him kick 59 and 61 yarders. They've seen him kick kicks that would have been good from 65 plus yards out. So if he can keep that up on the field with the deafening crowds on the road, in the stadium, if all of those components come together and create this team, then I really just don't know what we would have to complain about. I mean, of course, you're going to have things each week you got to learn from and grow from and change and adjust. And you're going to make adjustments each week based off of your opponent. But I think going forward, like I said, if all of these things work out, if all of these things keep happening, they're just going to snowball and grow into the next thing happening and the next thing and so on and so forth until we're looking at a damn good football team. And I really hope it happens. And it takes all the components. And we've discussed the defense and putting the pressure on the quarterbacks and RMT wanting the sacks. And we've discussed the offense and John Mateer wanting to get those touchdown passes and then thinking he's going to break records, and us having the rushers and us having the players to get those yards, and Jaren Kanik getting his job done at tight end. And then we have a special teams that we can rely on to come in and make super long field goals when needed, to make good punt returns and knock them out. It's just, it excites me, you guys. If you can't tell, it makes me want to run through a brick wall, because I know at the time that this episode drops, we haven't seen this team in a game. And obviously I haven't seen them in a practice, but I'm listening to all of these media people who have had the privilege to see them in practice, have talked to the coaches, talked to the players, seen all of this coming together. And it's finally here for us to get to see it in person. And I cannot wait. I cannot wait. And I know that this first game, we're a 35.5 point favor over Illinois State, and we had better damn well cover it, because I'm not always so huge on spreads. I will say sometimes I don't even pay a whole lot of attention to them, if we're being honest, but I think we need to make a statement. There's been a lot of hype with this team in the off season, during camp, going into the fall, and I think we need to make a freaking statement. And I do not want to see John Mateer after halftime. I don't want to see some of these starters on the depth chart after halftime. I want to see some of these second and third string players getting some time. I want us to have that spread covered, maybe even by half. Who wouldn't be excited about that? And I am so excited. Next week's episode, we will cover a review of the opener. Obviously, look forward to the Michigan game coming into Norman the following week. I am so excited for football season. It is here, and as well as some others have laid out a lot of key aspects for our football team to attain, to make a good impression, to make a good mark, to make a good entry point to the season. Let's get it done, boys. Let's go. Okay, so to end this week's episode with a Sooner fun fact of the week, at the 2023 NCAA Division I Outdoor Track and Field Championships held in Austin, Texas, OU's 4x400 meter relay squad clocked the number 2 time in program history to earn second team All-American status. And so again, a shout out to Coach James Thomas. I had him on the podcast earlier this summer, and all of his coaches and athletes as they start the cross country season this week. And shout out to them going forward. I hope that they have a great season. I cannot wait to see what you guys accomplish. So thank you guys for your overwhelming support. Please go follow me on social media. I'm at Sooner Girl Pod on literally every social account. I have merch available if you're interested in purchasing it. Please post your pics and tag me in them, or shoot me a message. I'd love to see you sporting the merch. I have hoodies going into fall. Be sure and get stocked up. I also still have tank tops and tees for those hot days we do still have ahead. Please go to your favorite podcast app and leave me a review, download, subscribe, and listen to some of my former episodes. If you've missed them, get caught up. I've had some amazing guests who have given me part of their time to come on the show, and I could not be more grateful for everyone who supported my podcast in so many ways. Please go subscribe on my Substack. You can subscribe for free to never miss a thing. My monthly newsletter called The Playbook will be out later this week, and so you won't want to miss that. If it doesn't come to your inbox because you're listening to this after the fact, you can view that on my Substack. I have a section called The Playbook, and you can read all of the newsletters there, and you won't miss any updates, episode recaps, anything going forward as I give a sneak peek of what's coming up in the fall. You won't want to miss that. Also on my Substack, The Huddle for my locker room girls is one of my favorite things I look forward to each month. By the time this episode drops, we will have just had our August online huddle, but I'm telling you, you will not want to miss the September online huddle. You have to be a member of the locker room to be able to join us for that. It's only $5 a month, and you get lots of other perks. You get a discount on merch. We have a chat in the Substack app. You have a private Instagram feed. We do our monthly Google Meet online huddles. I do in-person meetups as well. I have one coming up in September and also again in October that you won't want to miss out on. I also do giveaways, merch giveaways, tickets giveaways, all sorts of fun things that you won't want to miss out on. And you can join the locker room for only $5 a month on my Substack. So you can find this link in my bio, again, on all social media at Sooner Girl Pod. I have a link tree, my link in bio everywhere, and everything is linked there. But if you have any trouble or need help, I am more than happy to guide you to the correct place. Just shoot me a message again at Sooner Girl Pod on all social media, or shoot me an email at soonergirlsportspod@gmail.com. If you're looking to advertise or sponsor on the show, I'm happy to work with any budget. You can shoot me a message regarding that as well. And I've had a lot of people who are like, oh, well, we don't really do advertising or anything like that. Well, you would be a terrific sponsor for Sooner Girl Sports Pod, and I can put your name up here, just give you a little shout out, some recognition, whatever your budget will allow. It can be a one-time thing, it can be a long-term thing. It's up to you. But with what we have going on this fall, going forward, you're not going to want to be a part of it. So even if you don't technically do advertising for your business, but you're still interested in maybe doing a one-time sponsorship of any amount, just shoot me a message and I will be happy to work with you. Okay, guys, I know I'm hyped up this week. Football season's almost here. We're 3 days away at time of episode drop. I cannot wait. And you guys, I will see you next Wednesday and we will talk all kinds of sports.